Hello, welcome back to the Coming Full Circle channel. This is where I will help you eliminate any unconscious beliefs, emotions, and habits that are stopping your growth, that are stopping you from enjoying the best that life has to offer. One of the things that really constricts and restricts you, restricts your happiness, is the attitude of defensiveness. You see, way back when, you may have faced some people, some circumstances that really hurt you. And your ego decided to protect itself from getting hurt. And so what it did is it created a defensive attitude. Let's give you an example. Let's imagine you grew up in a very, very crowded family. There were 7 other siblings. Everybody was coming and going, and you were hardly noticed because the house was too crowded. You then decided at that age that being invisible, not being acknowledged, was way too hurtful. Now you've grown up to be a very successful person. You have a loving family. Your home is not that crowded anymore. So the old enemy is gone. There is no enemy. But the problem with defensiveness is that you still are trying to be noticed. So you become perfectionistic. You wear the right clothes, you drive the right car, you have this trophy wife or girlfriend. Everything about you is flashy. When you get into business meetings, you want to take over the meeting so everybody can see your authority. You don't want to be a show-off, but you can't help it because there's this constant threat, an old memory that during childhood you were invisible, unseen, and unacknowledged. Now, the problem with defensiveness is that that old circumstance, the old enemy, is no longer there. And whenever you're being defensive, you are crushing your soul, you're ruining your sense of spontaneity, you're stopping your natural talents and creativity. You're really hurting the people who love you because you're just so constricted instead of being free and spontaneous. Professionally, academically, you can really hurt yourself when you're defensive because other people don't know why you're carrying this old baggage, this heavy baggage on your back. So you really hurt yourself professionally, academically. Why? Because there's an intelligent life force, God force, running this world and your life. That life force wants to purposely pick on your sensitivity until you drop your baggage and you become more free, happy, and spontaneous. Whatever you're super sensitive to becomes like a thorn that's sticking to your side. And if that thorn has become infected, you want to live your life so that nothing touches that thorn. In the example of the person who felt unnoticed and invisible while growing up, they are now walking around with a thorn that has to do with being invisible and unnoticed. So what they do in meetings, they become too aggressive. They're always wearing flashy suits. They're driving the perfect sports car. They are trying to scare other people away through their power and authority. And in the meanwhile, they're just making more enemies because people hate defensiveness. So here's the good news. The bigger the baggage that you drop, the strongest defensive modes that you drop, the more wonderful, creative, spontaneous energy that you release. So if you're dropping big baggage from the past, you're going to release big energy so that you suddenly take off towards greater happiness and success. These are some famous well-known defense mechanisms. First of all addictions designed to numb your pain. Overeating, oversleeping, showing off, sudden rage and anger, uncontrollable rage, being very judgmental of other people who are succeeding because they threaten you. Not trying your best because you're too afraid of failing, and also procrastination, not getting important things done because You just don't want to risk failure. These are just some of the very many defense mechanisms that people use. Now, what do we do to get rid of defensiveness? I'm going to suggest 3 things, but at the end of the video, I want you to look at the video description. There you'll find the description to the complete Coming Full Circle Self-Transformation course that will offer you 14 more techniques for getting rid of defensiveness. Let's talk about some solutions. Solution number 1, just come to an understanding that defensiveness doesn't work. In other words, you were born with the proper tools, talents, inborn spontaneity and creativity to survive and do well. You don't need to cover up. You were not born with weaknesses. Everybody is designed by nature to survive. So the first suggestion, understand that defensiveness does not work. It just squeezes your soul, it ruins your creativity, it restricts your spontaneity, it just restricts your ability to enjoy life through freedom and joy. That's the first suggestion. The second suggestion, whenever you feel defensiveness coming on, as you exhale your breath, with the exhalation, just whisper in your mind, let it go, let it go, let it flow, let it flow. This is like a mantra. As you're exhaling, imagine you've become defensive. As you're exhaling, just say, let it go, let it go, let it flow, let it flow. As you say that, purposely release your muscles. Purposely bring down your shoulders. If you're making a fist, purposely release that fist so you can relax your hands. Third suggestion, find somebody who loves you unconditionally and confess to your defensiveness. The act of confession takes the wind out of the sail of the defensive ego. So find somebody that you trust, and when you become defensive, go to that person and confess to the fact that you're hurting inside and you've become defensive. Final words. The reason you became defensive to begin with is that way back when there were people and circumstances that threatened your ego. Those people are not there. The past is gone. There's zero benefit to living in the past. There's zero benefit in guarding yourself against an enemy that no longer exists. So let it go, let it flow. Be sure to look at the video description. Take a look at the very complete Coming Full Circle Self-Transformation course that will enable you to release any self-limiting emotions, beliefs, and habits that are stopping your happiness. God bless, Godspeed.